I think the first thing that we have to be honest about is the toxicity of our politics and how this country is paying a price because of the toxicity of that politics. We have had around 13 elections since 1980. And if you measure period that we've had elections, we've had an average in every 4 years we've had an election. And each one of those elections has been contested, been disputed, including the just ended harmonized election on the 23rd of August 2023. The report produced by the SADC Election Observer Mission on that election is the most damning condemnation of any election that you can see in recent times. And that puts a premium on our development. That puts a premium on our attractiveness as an investment destination. Most importantly, it underlines a discourse of discohesion, a discourse of disunity, a discourse of intolerance. The new parliament was only sworn in a week ago, but as already as I'm talking to you right now, that parliament has been weakened by unconstitutional recalls of over 15 or so members of parliament. So before we have begun, an important institution such as parliament has already been paralyzed. Local authority has already been paralyzed. So we're going to reproduce the lackadaisic status quo, the indifferent status quo, the conflict status quo of 2018 to 2023. We're going to reproduce it from 2023 to 2028 with the consequent wasted development of Zimbabwe, slow growth rates, 3% growth rates, 2% growth rates, negative growth rates, where we could be having a sustained growth rate of at least 9% per annum. Our GDP right now is around $18 billion. In 1980, our GDP was a mere $7 billion. Zambia was $3 billion. Kenya was $7 billion. Fast track, 44 years after independence, Kenya is a $264 billion economy. Zimbabwe is an $18 billion economy. Zambia is now a $64 billion economy. What is the difference? The difference is leadership. What is the difference? The difference is our toxicity. So we need to confront the elephant in the living room, which is our ugly politics, our extractive politics, our vicious politics, our predatory politics. We need to address that. It is true that Zimbabwe is a rich country. We've got 63, and of those, 4 or 5 of them, we have got world-class deposits. World-class deposits in gold, world-class deposits in platinum, world-class deposits in chrome, now world-class deposits in lithium. But this country is not benefiting from these minerals. I said we've got 63. There's a country a few kilometers from here called Botswana. It has got one mineral. The income of Botswana is US 6,500. The per capita income of Zimbabwe is US 1,200. But they have one mineral, we have 63. 63. And the difference is that Botswana has managed its one monomineral transparently. Its agreement with the De Beers group is transparent. Revenue flows from De Beers is transparent. We can't do that with our 63 minerals. And our accumulation model is faulty. If you take diamonds in Botswana, they've got a huge factory outside their airport which cleans and polishes those diamonds at a greater cost than India. In India, in Botswana, polishing diamonds is $30 US. In Botswana. In India, you can get away with $10. Same is in Israel. It's much more expensive, but the Botswana government forced the peers to say, we will process these diamonds here. So the problem in Zimbabwe is that, number one, we are selling these mines opaquely without any due diligence. So Manize is given, we don't know who was given and on what basis. Zimplats in Ingezi was given that resources, we don't know what price they paid. I was Minister of Finance, I saw the agreement. That agreement, if it had been subjected to Parliament, no Parliament would have passed that. We have just concluded Wange 7 and 8 on energy. I looked at the agreement, 1.5 billion, something that could have cost us $800 million. And our accumulation model is also false. Cecil John Rhodes died 1907 or thereabouts. The accumulation model he left was that you export minerals in raw form. If you were to wake up Cecil John Rhodes now from his lofty grave at Matopo, he will not get lost in Zimbabwe's production cycle, because the accumulation model 120 years later is still the same. It's still extraction. I take lithium. Lithium is now the black gold. A ton of lithium costs US $80,000. So it's the most valuable mineral, much more valuable than gold. But you've got trucks, huge trucks, that are exporting raw lithium through Forbes border post to Sofala, now known as Beira. How can we allow the raw exportation of lithium from places like Bikita when we could easily force them to build refineries that will process the lithium so that we can use it for mobile phones, for car batteries, and for the decarbonization of our country?
Thank you.
Take platinum. Last point.
Okay.
Platinum. Platinum is a dangerous metal, because when you mine platinum, there are 6 other metals that come from it. Rhodium is one of them. Palladium is one of them. Now, because we don't have a refinery in Zimbabwe, what is accountable to us is a tiny fraction. They've been mining for 20 years. We've failed to insist that a platinum refinery be built. We've even failed to force them to actually go and refine part of the platinum at Bindura nickel mine, because there is a nickel refinery, and nickel is also a metal. So we are failing this economy through opaqueness. We are failing this economy through failure to understand the value of what we are dealing with. We are failing to develop this economy through failure to transform the accumulation model. And lastly, we're failing this economy through toxic, contested